Hello, YouTubers. I know a lot of speculation has been made about what date Jesus was really born on. In fact, people can't even agree on what year Jesus was born, let alone what time of year. This video will make the case that Jesus was most likely born on the traditional date accepted, December the 25th. At the very least, I hope you find my approach reasonable. How would one approach the question, what date was Jesus born on? Especially when considering that different cultures have different calendars. I mean, if a Jewish historian is keeping dates, you need to understand the Jewish calendar. However, the ancient Roman Empire used a similar calendar to ours, called the Julian calendar. The calendar we use is called the Gregorian calendar. The difference between the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar is only that the Gregorian calendar accounts for the fact that a solar year is not technically 365.25 days, but is actually 365.2425 days. Other than that, since the Roman Empire, we use the exact same calendar. It also means that conversion from the ancient Roman records to our modern calendar is quite easy. Another factor I believe to be important is what the earliest known trustworthy sources wrote on the issue. The earliest record, at least of any detail, appears to be of Hippolytus, a Roman citizen who would have used the Julian calendar. But how trustworthy is Hippolytus? Well, let's consider who Hippolytus was. He can be traced to the Apostle John through 3 generations of discipleship. See, the Apostle John trained Polycarp, but Polycarp actually knew several of the apostles and conversed with them, so would have known more than anyone what they believed. It was Polycarp that, having gained the wisdom of age, trained Irenaeus. Irenaeus became the first influential theologian of Christianity after Paul the Apostle. He wrote his seminal work Against Heresies, a 5-volume work that delineated all the Christian heresies of his time, most of them Gnostic in origin. It was Irenaeus that trained Hippolytus. From John to Hippolytus, all these men were in agreement in premillennialism and eschatology. While Irenaeus wrote much about premillennialism and against heresies, it was perhaps Hippolytus, himself a prolific author, who provided the most insight into the premillennialism of the early Christian community. In fact, it was Hippolytus that wrote the earliest known Christian commentary on the book of Daniel, a topic I've mentioned some in previous videos. I mention these historical facts because it helps to understand what kind of Christian Hippolytus was and how he approached the scriptures. Much like the Apostle John, in his old age, Hippolytus was exiled and likely died working in the mines. We should rightly conclude that Hippolytus is a highly influential figure in the early Christian community and that it would be wise for us to consider his words, written around 220 AD. What's super important to mention is that, while some associate Christmas with pagan origin, at the time of Hippolytus's writing, Christians did not celebrate Christ's birth, so had no motivation for ascribing his birth to a pagan festival. Yet Hippolytus wrote, and what he believed was the exact date of Christ's birth. Here's a portion of what he had to say. For the first event of our Lord in the flesh, when he was born in Bethlehem, 8 days before the calends of January, which is December the 25th, the 4th day of the week, which is Wednesday, while Augustus was in his 42nd year, which is 2 or 3 BC, but from Adam 5,500 years. He suffered in the 33rd year, 8 days before the calends of April, March the 25th, the day of preparation, the 15th year of Tiberius Caesar, which is 29 or 30 AD, while Rufus and Rebellion and Gaius Caesar, for the 4th time, and Gaius Sestus Saturnius were consuls. So, Hippolytus clearly identified December the 25th as the birthday of Jesus, despite having no motivation to associate it with a pagan holiday. Another influential Christian, named Sextus Julius Africanus, also made the case that Christ was born on December the 25th, around the same time as Hippolytus. He had a bit of a strange argument that had to do with Christ's resurrection and the creation of the world. You see, both the traditional date of the resurrection and the beginning of the world is March the 25th. Africanus tied this date in March also to Christ's conception in Mary, with him being born 9 months later, on December the 25th. While we'll likely never be certain what date Christ was born, What is clear is that the earliest Christians who spoke on the subject clearly believed that December the 25th is the date of his birth. We can easily determine this because they used the Julian calendar, which is essentially the same calendar that we have today. The allegation that this date was used to associate Christianity with pagan festivals appears to be completely false, for Christians like Hippolytus and Sextus Julius Africanus claimed this date even before Christians celebrated Christ's birth. If you're watching this on Christmas, know that there's good reason to believe that on this day, unto us a child was born, unto us a son was given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And that's all the time I had for today. If you like this video, please show your support by subscribing. Thanks for your time.